Welcome to the United We Scan podcast, the podcast by rural carriers for rural carriers. The views expressed in this podcast are of the presenters and the presenters only and do not represent the views, opinions, or strategies of the United States Postal Service or the National Rural Letter Carriers Association. We ask that you please consult your assigned union representative for guidance in your local area. Please like this podcast, share with your fellow rural carriers, and subscribe to be notified each time a new episode is uploaded. Please leave a comment or question for us below. Thank you. Now, here are the hosts of the United We Scan podcast.
Welcome back, everybody. Episode technically 115. James just got home from Eastern States, so we'll let him describe that a little bit. Our episode 114 will come out eventually. It will probably come out as the lost episode. For those that did not see my post in the Facebook group, my audio software updated just before we went on and reset my microphone settings, and I did not catch it. So therefore, none of my audio got recorded. So, yeah.
Dun, dun, dun.
It happens, and it's been a week. Let me tell you, one thing after another, but, yeah. Bill, how was your not-to-do list this week?
It was fulfilling and nothing got done.
Nice.
I mean, that's my objective. Actually, no, we're busy looking for either a house that fits our needs or a piece of property we can build a house that fit my needs. But that's a drawn out process. If anybody hasn't noticed, your TSP with the CNS funds has been taking a hit for the last 2 weeks. Just hold on to it. Don't panic and be moving it so fast. Okay, it'll rebound. Myself, I took a little over a $28,000 hit in 2 weeks. So, but bear with it. It'll bounce back. Like the economy always does. And we basically got spring breaking here. It's high 50s, low 60s. We got a little bit of a storm passing through tonight, and I just can't wait until the blossoms start. I already have crocuses coming up, so I'm looking forward to the first day of spring so I can open another bottle of Crown. Other than that, kids are fine. Wife's a little under the weather. But, she's on the road to mending, and I don't know, maybe it's me. Cigarettes and Crown Royal. I'm healthy. How about you, James? What's going on?
He muted himself.
Oh, yes, wipe.
Well, I try to keep the sounds out from my room. But my week was Monday through Wednesday. I worked my route like I normally do. Left out early Thursday morning and took back roads to start. Freeways out of Michigan. I took back roads to start on the way down. Went by Cedar Point, checking that out from the lakeshore, seeing what was going on there. Went and saw the motel where I usually stay at for Cedar Point, and it's actually up for sale. I'm kind of sad about that. Don't know how much they want for it or whatever, but I'm going to look into it and see what's going on. Then drove all the way across there to Cleveland, and then dropped down to 80 from there. And then I took back roads in Pennsylvania, go stop at Horseshoe Curve, the biggest railroading marvel ever created. And when I was getting off the exit for Horseshoe Curve, it said Allegheny Portage Railroad this way. And it's a national park, and luckily it was open. But it is actually a cable-drawn carriage that pulled rail cars up a 10% grade at that location in the mid to late 1800s. So to see that kind of transportation history was amazing. And when I left that, I went down a back road to get to Horseshoe Curve. As I arrived, there was a train going around the curve. And it's just amazing that you can do a 220-degree turn watching this train go around the inside of this mountain. Beautiful. And then got down to Ocean City, and the hotel seen better days. It's fairly old, but they did keep it pretty clean for what it is. They had an ice skating rink in the center of the building, which made that room very cold. It was always cold out there, and it was super hot in the room where we were having the conference. Because of that cold air rushing in every time the doors were open, the heaters were working overtime. But it got a street view instead of the ocean view. But it was nice to go out and just watch the waves crashing against the shoreline at night before going to bed for the night. It was great to see a lot of people there, a lot of friendly faces. It was quite interesting, and we'll get into that here in a little bit. I left out of there, driving back, got into the mountains, and got into the thunderstorms, and missed all the tornado warnings that started in Pennsylvania by shooting across 70 into West Virginia, and actually was driving down the freeway and saw an old Stone Arch Bridge. Like, I got a detour and check this out, and it was built in 1818. So, and it's still standing today, just a marvel of engineering. And then got all the way back here and jumped on a little bit on the freeway to let everybody know I was going to be a little late. But I'm here now. How was your week, Kristen? I heard you say it was interesting.
Yeah, it's been kind of hectic, honestly. Ruby went and did her orientation Monday. She did her shadow day on Tuesday, her defensive driving video Zoom thing on Thursday, and her LLV training on Friday. And she goes to academy this next week, Wednesday through Saturday, and then she comes back to start doing her OJT next to the following week. So we got her in and got her going, and yeah, it's been trying to find a POV for her has been a headache and a half, and getting little man set up with daycare, and yeah, it's just been one thing after another this week. And yeah, I nicely though, I was expecting to have to work my K-Day yesterday, and Postmaster redid the schedule properly, and I got it off. So I was happy about that. And today I woke up and we had no power until about 4:15 this afternoon. So that was what a way to spend your birthday, sitting around the house with no electricity. So yeah, and then this next week is just going to be just as hectic. Ruby's going to leave Tuesday, and little man's staying home with us, so I took Wednesday off to take him to his 6-month appointment. And other than that, I'm going to have to be up by the butt crack of dawn to take the other half to work so I can use his truck to make sure little man gets to daycare. Otherwise, I'd just walk to work, but little man's got to go to daycare while I'm working on Thursday and Friday, so... Yeah, 6 months. His 6-month appointment is actually the day before his 7-month birthday. So, but yeah, it's just one thing after another. My son's getting ready to come back home to the States. I talked to him a little bit today. His little bean, their 14 weeks, is measuring 16 to 17 weeks. So we're gonna have a big grandbaby, possibly. But yeah, he next Sunday he flies back to the States, and he'll be back in Michigan by the end of the first week of April. So it'll be fun. But yeah, that's about, sums it up. Besides working my normal and mentoring the newer RCAs and doing what I can in the office to help them out as I can. It's take care of everything at home. I'm just exhausted. So I do apologize for last week's episode not being out yet, but it's just one of those things. So James, you want to...
So James, you're saying you were late because you wanted to go look at an old bridge.
It wasn't just that, it was the people that got into the heavy rains, put their flashers on, and were doing 30 miles an hour on the expressway.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the whole point of road trips, though, is being able to see that type of stuff when you're on the road, That's why I enjoy doing the road trips, driving out to Reno. I've got to mark 3 locations off my bucket list, and that's what I enjoy that as well, James, about road trips, is seeing sights that you normally wouldn't see otherwise.
Yeah, like you said, on the way to Reno, like I stopped at the Pony Express station in Gothenburg, Nebraska. Of course, stopped there again on the way back to catch the big boy going through under its own power. And the little things that you would miss if you flew everywhere. Literally, you call it flying over everything. You miss so many things. And I always say this, if you rush, life passes you by. Stop and smell the roses. Stop and see the scenes and the history and how society was back then versus now. Or maybe you end up in some famous person's hometown. I one time took a road off the highway because it said covered bridge this way. I'm like, I want to check out what the covered bridge in the middle of cornfields looks like. I took the side road, couldn't find the covered bridge. I ended up in John Wayne's hometown. Things you can find.
Oh, yeah. All right. So how was Mid-States?
Retirement Club, Lady Carriers Club, National General Insurance, National Active Retired Federal Employees was there. Into the speakers, the actual speakers here. And we had the Delaware, Pennsylvania POOM 2 liaison, Kristen Brand, there. And she talked about all the stuff that management's looking at and things like that. Like the 4240 times should be pretty close to the input you put on the scanner. Not you clock in on the scanner at 8:20, but your 4240 says 8 o'clock. Stuff like that. To learn more about the Rex PowerPoint, you should be going on your asking manager to go under the Rural Carrier Resources page on Blue to get the PowerPoint. It did say that carriers should be the one doing the mapping. Goes to all the managers out there that are mapping without the carriers, that are mapping while the carriers are standing behind them. The carriers should be the ones sitting there doing it. And he admits some routes have not been updated, and in her area alone that she covers, 4 routes have not been updated since 2021. And she also said that doing cluster boxes is the cheapest way to deliver. No duh, because we don't get enough coverage factor for them. We had the NRLCA retirement seminar, the executive committeeman seminar with Mike Marola and Kirby Ricketts. Or Kirby Ricketts. Yeah, that's right. Everybody gets Kirby and but it's Kirby Ricketts. Grievance numbers are down, but investigative interviews are up. They visited offices in Kentucky for flooding. They were going to go visit the ones in West Virginia, but they found out that there is only one office with one route that had rural carriers affected in West Virginia. I still would have visited that office. That one carrier needs to know that the national office cares about them too, because they said most of the offices out there are contract routes. In Pikeville, Kentucky, they brought breakfast for the whole office. The other crafts were shocked that they brought it for everybody, whereas the other crafts, they usually only bring it for their specific craft. Then they talked about the mailbox angels coming out there, and they also talked about the route adjustments a little bit, but we talked about that at the last conference breakdown. Then the labor relations seminar was exactly the same as SWAC and SAC about grievance remedies. Then we get into the meat and potatoes. Saturday, President Maston time to speak. He tried to do the best he could to share, talking about safety issues, collective bargaining, Doge, and he's not going to call on people because you can do it in the Q&A. He says you can have a lot of confidence that your national board is working their ass off late at night, weekends, etc. Quote. That was quoted. He specifically said that. Legislative rallies, working with other unions. This is the most interesting experience he's ever experienced. Even COVID was less crazy. I've summarized that. Not his words, I'm summarizing. Talking about the loss of carriers, the deaths we've had on the job. And he says the main cause for a lot of them is not wearing the seatbelt. You have some things you can take responsibility for, like wearing your seatbelt. texting while driving, fingering the mail, not looking ahead for just 1 second. He wants you to sign out at the end of the day and go home to your family. He specifically said, I don't leave my vehicle running when I get out, when I go into Walmart. It's impossible that the vehicle turned itself on, fell out of park, and turned off the parking brake. I'm sorry, didn't Corey Walton on From 8 Arbitration actually have one of those vehicles that they had a grievance on? Anyway, um, then he said the one most important thing you can do at the end of the day is go home to your loved ones. He said, I don't think all carriers falsify their inputs that make these numbers on the people who are under evaluation, and talking about people working off the clock or not punching their times right, like coming back to the office on return to DU and immediately clocking out, like I've seen some carriers do. Then he went on, if you read the stuff on the internet that my route is 300 miles from my house, it's true. You got me. He's never stepped foot in that office. Then he decided to address the elephant in his family. He has been bombarded by messages, phone calls, emails, and letters about the comment that his wife made on Facebook. And he said, my wife is a rural carrier. She is very outspoken on Facebook, right? Facebook is not the real world, right? How many women in this room? How many of you are told what to do by your husband? She's posted some stuff on Facebook, which she is entitled to. She's married to me, but I don't tell her what to do. She put some stuff out there about the current administration. She's got her opinion. I am not apologizing for my wife's comments. She's got her own dang opinion. And all of you men and women out there have your own opinions, and I'm not going to make any of you apologize for what you think or believe. No, that didn't happen. Don didn't apologize. And in fact, Don isn't going to apologize to stay married. Facebook, give me a break. We're all in this fight together. Then he went on to talking about the rallies coming up and reinforced that you are supposed to talk positively about the union and the Postal Service in communications. Then we got into the legislative update, and there hasn't been much change from the last time we talked legislative updates. Insurance, legal with Jean-Paul, and then when we got into the Q&A, we got into some interesting information, and it was kind of hidden in there. It was very briefly spoken about, but he went on about the MOU again, which we've covered in depth, but we got into some answers about the contract negotiations. The first time we've actually gotten a little bit of detail of what is being negotiated was given at Eastern States. I'm hearing Bill passing out over there from a heart attack.
Well, the fact that he's got Dunkin' Donuts and the fact that he didn't dye his hair for this Eastern States.
Yeah.
Not
that was funny. That was actually. Let me get through these and give you a heart attack a little bit, Bill, and then I'll explain Dunkin' Donuts. All right. So this is what he specifically said about the contract negotiations. Table 2 is not eliminated.
Oh shit.
Looking at significantly more than a 50-cent raise for RCAs. Not looking at career status for RCAs, because you're looking at modifying at least 30 other rules at the post office rural craft. He talked about the MOU for regulars to volunteer going into the contract. He said, yes, there has been consideration to that. And parent-child routes having issues, they don't have a specific issue for every single parent-child route. Each one has something that's a little bit different. But if you have a parent-child route and you have an issue and you can point to that issue, you need to get a hold of John Adams at National about it, because they're looking for the specific reasons why parent-child routes are having problems, but they have to have the facts. So if you have a parent-child route out there and you have facts that you can put in front of national, like missing DPS numbers, things like that, or anything that can point to the fact that it's not working for your evaluation, John Adams needs to know about it. But the big thing that I want to put out there is that he said 25% of rural routes went overburdened with wrecks. That's close to the 30% of routes that went up in evaluation in the first mini mail survey. And he said it was about 21,000 routes. It could have built 1,000 new 43K routes. And operations has been full of excuses as to why it's not working, why they're not getting routes cut, why they're not doing what they should be doing. They can't just snap their fingers at the post office and get them to see their way. It's apparently their operations and labor don't talk to each other. Labor knows it's wrong, but operations don't care. And that is the biggest problem we have in the post office is operations does not care if we grieve stuff. Operations does not care if they violate the contract. And operations doesn't care as long as they make the numbers.
Which is not surprising.
So that's what I got from the Q&A. It wasn't a very long one because we were coming up on time and they had to leave room for candidate announcements. And of course, Natasha Patterson was at Eastern States and did nominate herself again for executive committeeman. And I, of course, stepped up and nominated myself for president of the NRLCA. And then I had to leave early in the morning, but they had another business session today. I was unfortunately, in order to get back in time to run my route, was not able to stick around for that. But on the Dunkin' Donuts, Maston holding a Dunkin' Donuts cup. So somebody got the idea of Don drinking Dunkin' Donuts coffee, and for a $25 pack donation, you could get a picture with Don Maston drinking Dunkin' Donuts coffee. So everybody got together and said, hey, let's line up. So we all lined up, got our pictures taken with Don as he's drinking the Dunkin' Donuts coffee. We wanted to try and get him to finish the cup. We came close. But it did raise a lot of money for PAC.
I like the fact that he was a good sport about that.
Are you still alive over there, Bill, or did you die from a heart attack from that information? Bill?
I think we lost him.
Somebody do CPR on Bill. Oh, did I lose internet?
No, I hear you. Bill just disappeared, that's all.
Are we good?
I can hear you. I never had a problem with that.
Bill, can we hear Bill?
I don't hear Bill.
Technical. It wouldn't be United We Scan without technical difficulties.
Wouldn't it, though? One thing after another.
Yeah.
But this one's just audio, so it'll be easier to edit.
That's true.
Unless Bill's just, passed out somewhere.
Bill probably had a heart attack from the information I dumped.
Yeah, I don't know if he wears that heart monitor anymore. I think that's done with.
I think even if he did, he probably broke it with this.
Yeah, so are you going to Western then? That's the next one.
I am planning on it. I already have the time. Because I came back early, I saved 2 days of leave. Because I set myself up for Tuesday because I didn't know which specific days they were actually having business for this.
Yeah.
So I turned around and drove all the way back today, not only to get on the podcast, but to also make sure that I'd be in at work on Monday because they were going to split routes. Because we have a carrier on emergency placement and a carrier that retired, so we're short subs now.
Yeah.
Now can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you
Yes.
now.
What the
Did you have a heart attack over there, Bill?
No, I was just saying that I would have charged Don $50 to have his picture taken with me.
Any donation to PAC is worth it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Mid States. Ruby will be coming with me, and where she's gonna figure out what friend can come with us to be the babysitter while we're in the conference. So.
Oh, don't you know most of the Michigan people will be happy to be watching a baby in the back of the room?
Yeah, but he's at that age where he would just be more disruptive than not. So it'll be best to take a babysitter along with us. So
You
but
running around?
in his walker, yes. I actually thought about taking that. We could set him down the middle aisle and just let him go.
But it was nice to see so many friendly faces like and others, and a lot of people coming up saying, I listen to you every week. And then one person, where's the episode?
Sorry, guys. It's all my fault. You can blame me. Life's been hectic, and I don't pay attention to stuff like I should when I'm getting stuff going. So,
Oh no, we blame Windows.
no, I can blame OBS. But no, it'll get there. It wasn't a lot of, oh my God, this has to get out stuff. It was a lot of chit chat. So give me a few days and I'll just kind of put it out as the lost episode. So yeah.
I just want to put a reminder out there of the rallies, though. Make sure you're looking them up. The NALC is having theirs on Sunday the 23rd. I believe the APWU has one
I
on
guess
the 20th.
was one and yeah, somebody had posted on Facebook on one of my local boards about what was that protest in front of the post office yesterday. I had no clue about it, so and I don't know if it was
Yeah,
our office or one of the other nearby towns, but
yeah, I'm not sure exactly when. They don't actually have it on the APWU website, but I do know that there's several rallies put out there, and of course the NALC one is on their website under news, the news tab. Make sure you check that out. Get the list of them. They are separated by state, and you can click on your state in the map, and it will drop you down to your state. If your state
Yeah,
doesn't have
just
one,
put the link.
your state doesn't have one, talk with your city carrier brother and sisters in that area to set one up. They update it every single day.
There's another rally on Tuesday in Pennsylvania, James.
Mm-hmm.
It's being held at the Fine Wine and Spirits stores, and it's protesting the tariffs being put on Crown Royal.
Let me guess, you're setting it up?
Oh, hell yeah. Damn straight.
I need to figure out if the Blackberry Crown pairs well with the Blackberry Dr. Pepper. I think I might try that when I get off here.
Oh my God, I'm going to get sick.
That's going to make your teeth walk.
Oh, that kind of sugar in a whiskey. Oh, come on now.
Anyway.
Damn.
I had to throw it out there because I have both in my kitchen right now.
Oh, why don't you just get 4 ounces of Blackberry Crown and drop a tablespoon of blackberry jam in there, mix it up. You'll get the same effect.
But it won't be fizzy.
I'm going to reserve my comment on that last one.
Uh-huh. Yes, my birthday drink. Yes.
But I will say they are people of Maryland are very kind and friendly. I appreciate that from them. The hotel staff was very, very kind as well. Did a very good job taking care of everything, making sure things were set up the way we needed them. So it was that's every state, Jen. Every state they can't drive. But yeah, it was very nice and a great group of people to be around for that, I will say.
You're good to hear. Anything else tonight, guys?
I couldn't come up with anything on the drive back, so.
That's fine. I can handle short and sweet.
Yes.
Yeah, and I don't want to talk about anything at my old office because, then somebody will comment about it. Even though we're allowed to.
It proves we're still caring about the craft even into retirement.
Yeah.
We still care.
Yep. Well, right now, I'm arranging for a consolidation of our unit with another unit who, can't get enough people to run for the 3 positions of their local unit, let alone have people attend their meetings.
And sadly, that's happening all over.
Oh, yeah.
And
yeah.
That's that's when we need to motivate people to get involved. I mean, we're talking about. I've talked with multiple people this past week alone on the one member, one vote situation, in not only national level but state level too.
Mm-hmm.
So they're pushing for it. People want change. They want their voice heard. One way you can do that is to attend your local meetings and find a way to attend your local meetings. And the problem is getting time off to do that is the hardest part. So more will come from that. We're going to be working on resolutions this next week or two, getting them set up for this year. We got a few of them that I want to get put forth, see if we can get them up to national, as well as a couple for my state, maybe. We'll
Yeah.
see what happens.
Yeah, I gotta work on mine too. I've got a month before my local annual meeting, so.
Me too.
Yeah. So, all right, James, your final thoughts for this evening.
If there's one thing I can say about these regional conferences is there's not enough participation. And the participation is not due to carriers not wanting to participate. It's due to inadequate staffing, not having available relief carriers to cover that. And the conversations that I've had with people at these conferences stress the same thing. Our RCAs, our PTFs, even our ARCs are still woefully abused by management, woefully abused to the point that they don't want to work here. There are unicorn offices out there that have full coverage, but they are few and far between. But the one thing that they have in common, they have management that actually cares about their people. And in the offices that have management that don't, we need to start grieving on. Grievance numbers are down. Why? Because people give up. We can't give up now. We need to start fighting. We need to get stronger. We need to come together as a craft. No matter what happens, whether people think that we're creating chaos or it's trying to fearmonger people, we should be united as a craft, whether it happens or not. Our job to be proactive. It's our job to be educated. How do we get educated? To get involved. Because at the end of the day, we're all in this together. So,
Well, you're right, James, and that leads me to my week last week, which was, kind of uneventful, but the fact of the matter was that I had two women from the South message me and went into lengthy discussions in regards to their situations. And the one lady said, I know you're retired, but thanks for all that you do for the craft. And it's like, you got to understand that, the craft has been my family for 26 years, the better part of my life. So, I mean, I'm glad to be there, for people. They don't have time to look things up, or they don't know the things, or they're unsure, whatever. But you pop me a message, and I get back to you. And even though I'll complain about people who don't bother even trying, I understand that some people have restrictions with family and work and everything. But to really re-edify the point of being involved, going to your local meetings, we have 4 local meetings a year per our Constitution. That's 4 times a year that you need to put some extra time into, okay? And you come to our meetings and we feed you and we inform you, we educate you, we give you the tools that you need to present your situations, your cases, follow through on your grievances, and we always remind you to contact your duly elected local union official. But the fact of the matter is, if you don't attend these meetings, and I would love to be able to do them via Zoom, but we're not allowed yet. If you don't attend these meetings, if you don't get involved, if you don't message, myself, Kristen, James, or anybody else, on our pages, under the Discord format, that's on you. Because the one person who has the most interest in your paycheck should be you. And that starts with educating yourself, learning the contract, including 603, the M38, the ELM, the RCAM, Rex. Yeah, yes, it's a lot. But what do you think we've done? I've done it over the years with 3 growing sons. Okay, Kristen does it with her fractured family all over the frickin' world. James, there's no excuse for James. Anyway, the fact of the matter is, you really have to put the effort forth to step up for yourself, protect yourself. This is one of the foundations of having a union, is that they're there to protect you, and you utilize that resource. But it starts with you stepping up and speaking out for yourself. You got, another 2 weeks before you're going to get your results back from this mini mail survey. Make sure you have your dispute ready and in hand, properly documented with proof. Make sure you have them with proof. And everybody, you've got some warmer weather coming in. Some of northern states still getting snow. Sorry about that. But, be aware, with warmer weather, kids will be out, animals will be out, dogs running around. Just because spring's right on the brink, and you better be vigilant around the areas that you deliver. Those customers, depend on you because of the fact that you're the eyes and ears of the community. And I truly believe that. And I still am in contact with customers on my route. So everybody, be professional, be efficient, be diligent, and make sure you get home to your loved ones, because you are the most important delivery of the day. Kristen?
Thank you guys. Yes, getting involved is definitely a big thing. I know, even Ruby already, who hasn't even started her OJT, who has attended numerous union functions with me already, with everything that I've gone to with the exception of National last year. I was talking to her on her way to the grocery store yesterday and was like, hey, because I noticed one of the guys that she was in orientation with is going to be in her academy class coming up. And I said, he's in our local. I said, did he sign up for the union? She goes, I don't know. I said, well, since your orientation presenter for the union, kind of used you and me as an example, I said, why don't you show, she pulled out her phone and in her notes, she typed out the date and time and location, and she's going to mention it to that RCA when they're at Academy together this week. Going, hey, you should come out, you should be involved. I mean, right out of the get-go, I guess I kind of raised her right in that aspect, but we'll see. It's that simple, and I know sometimes it's hard to get to them. I have to drive an hour currently after I get out of work to go to my local meetings. Carpool if you have to. Try and get somebody there. I've coached all my newer RCAs that came in and saying, hey, we have an annual meeting coming up next month, and you'll get the notice in the mail, but here's the details right now so you have a head start. If you know those things, pass it on, try to bring them. We tend to feed our people as well. Unfortunately, lately we've only had one meeting a year, which really sucks, and I'd like to see that change. So they're try and go if you can. Be a voice, even if you can make the one and you think a different day or time or location would be better for the next one. Feel free to raise your hand and make that suggestion to that local board. I hopefully they're willing to listen if it's something that can be feasible to try and get more people there. You have to work together on it, and go, be a delegate to your state convention. I mean, if you really want to see how things work and how things pass and go through and have a voice, go to your state conventions, sign up to be a delegate, or send in your nomination, however your state does it. I know states tend to do it a little differently in some areas. That's the one thing you can do. The one way you can have your voice heard is going to things like that. Resolutions submitting at your annual local meetings that get passed and go up to state convention. And if they pass at state, if it's something for national, it can go up to national and get voted on the national floor. I mean, James and I both have had resolutions up on the national floor. Some have passed, some haven't. But that's, to know that it got that far definitely can make a difference. Especially, for somebody who's like, I have this idea. How do I go about it? Put it in a resolution. Do your research. Reach out to somebody that could help you writing it if needed. That's the bare minimum. And my biggest thing that I say, if you can't do it, when your delegate ballots get mailed out to you for national convention, vote. Reach out and people that you know to know who your names are. Go through the proceedings from the previous national conventions and see if you recognize any names that are on there and what they have said. It's that simple. That is one of the easiest things. And then when we have a contract ratification in the future, when, don't know, but when that does happen, vote. Vote, is it something you like? Vote yes. If it's something you don't like, vote no. But that vote is yours. That is one way to use your voice as being a member of the union. Those simple things like that. So, that's the biggest thing I can say is people to step up and be active. If it's something you've been thinking about, do it. Just do it. And people will welcome you with open arms as first timers. I mean, we've all been there. We've all been a first timer. And we know people will welcome you with open arms and be happy to see you. And somebody will take you under their wing and show you the ropes. That's how it goes for everything. So, but yes, guys, the weather has been interesting. It was 60 degrees yesterday and it snowed here today. So we're looking at high 30s, low 40s all week. As we all know, that can be a mess. I am going to put the NALC Rallies link in the show notes too this week, so everybody will have a chance to click that if they want to. So guys, stay safe out there. Don't forget to stay hydrated and make sure you get home to your loved ones, and we will be back next week.
Hey, Bill, everybody's stealing your line.
I swear to God, plagiarism at its best.
Hey, imitation is the most sincere form of flattery.